Deep beneath the Zagros Mountains, the silence of the Iranian desert is being shattered. Satellite intelligence has just confirmed the opening of reinforced steel doors at 5 different missile cities. From the Persian Gulf to the Syrian border, Tehran is moving its most strategic assets into launch positions. This isn't a routine exercise, it's a systematic plan to paralyze the global economy and blindside Western defenses. We aren't just talking about rockets, we are witnessing the deployment of hypersonic ghosts and low-cost swarms designed to bankrupt the West. 5 weapons, 1 goal. The world is on edge. Iran has turned the dollar itself into a weapon of war. The Hessa Shahed 136 and its lethal new sibling, the turbojet-powered Shahed 238, represent the pinnacle of cost imposition strategy. Each unit costs less than a mid-sized sedan, yet it forces a $4 million Patriot interceptor into the sky for every engagement. Technically, the Shahed 136 carries a 30-kilogram warhead with a range estimated over 1,000 kilometers. But the real game-changer is the Shahed 238, confirmed via wreckage analysis in June 2025. This turbojet variant is faster and harder to track, designed specifically to overwhelm naval Aegis combat systems. When 50 of these drones launch simultaneously from a single disguised civilian truck, it creates a mathematical disaster for the defender. The goal isn't just destruction, it's saturation. By flooding the airspace with low-cost targets, Iran forces Western forces to deplete their limited magazines of high-end interceptors. If these swarms are directed at global shipping hubs or oil tankers in the Red Sea, the insurance markets would collapse before the first fire was even extinguished. The threat is no longer theoretical. OSINT tracking of Iranian drone carrier ships shows a steady flow of these kamikaze robots towards southern ports and Houthi proxies. This creates a permanent state of high alert that is financially and operationally unsustainable for allied navies. And as terrifying as these swarms are, they are merely the screen for something moving 15 times faster than the speed of sound. If the Shahed drones are the hammer designed to crack the shield, the Fattah hypersonic family is the scalpel designed to decapitate the command structure. Unveiled in 2023, the Fattah 1 represents a massive leap in Iranian missile technology. It is a Mach 15 plus ballistic missile with a range of 1,400 kilometers, but its speed isn't its most dangerous feature. The Fattah 1 utilizes a maneuverable re-entry vehicle, or MaRV, while standard ballistic missiles follow a predictable parabolic arc that computers can easily calculate. The Fattah maneuvers in its terminal phase. It dances to evade systems like the Israeli Arrow 3 or the American THAAD. In late 2023, the threat escalated with the unveiling of the Fattah 2, featuring a hypersonic glide vehicle, HGV, and a liquid fuel engine. This allows the missile to fly at lower altitudes, staying beneath the horizon of traditional long-range radars for a significant portion of its flight. The strategic implication is clear. A Fattah battery moved into western Iran or Syria compresses the warning time for US regional bases and allied capitals to a matter of minutes. At these velocities, the friction with the atmosphere creates a sheath of plasma around the missile, which can absorb radar waves, making it nearly invisible until it is too late. It is an unstoppable kinetic ghost aimed directly at the heart of hardened command centers. While hypersonics provide speed, the Khorramshahr 4 provides raw, devastating mass. Known as the Khyber, this is a heavy, intermediate-range ballistic missile that serves as Tehran's ultimate insurance policy. It carries a staggering 1,500-kilogram warhead over a distance of 2,000 kilometers. Technically, the Khorramshahr 4 is a masterpiece of survivability. It uses hypergolic liquid fuels, which can be stored in the missile for years, allowing for a near-instant launch capability compared to traditional liquid-fueled rockets. In February 2026, Iranian state media and satellite imagery confirmed that these launchers have been moved into missile cities, vast underground complexes carved into mountain ranges. These sites are designed to survive a nuclear first strike, ensuring that Iran retains a second strike capability. With a reported precision of 30 meters, the Khorramshahr 4 isn't just a city killer, it is a surgical tool of strategic deterrence. Its re-entry speed of Mach 8 makes it nearly impossible to intercept in its final seconds. By moving these into position, Iran is signaling that no matter how many missiles an adversary builds, they cannot stop a weapon they cannot track. Stationing these near the coast creates a nuclear deterrence shockwave that ripples through every diplomatic channel in the world.
The technology we are deconstructing is the result of decades of classified research and shifting geopolitical sands. At HMSector, we bring you inside the weapon systems and the OSINT data that define global power. If you want to understand the deep tech behind the headlines and the strategies that move the world, subscribe now and join our community of analysts. Now, back to the global jugular.
سامانه‌ها و موشک‌ها اضافه می‌شود.
Iran, for the second time in the space of 5 months, launched a direct attack.
The Strait of Hormuz is the world's most critical oil choke point, and Iran has its hand firmly on the knife. 20 million barrels of oil per day transit this narrow gap, roughly 20% of the global supply. Iran's naval strategy here is not about matching the US Navy ship for ship. It is about smart mines and fast attack swarms. By moving advanced mine-laying vessels and drone-integrated speedboats into position in February 2026, Tehran is preparing for a denial-of-access scenario. A single mining event or the sinking of a large tanker would skyrocket insurance premiums and send global oil prices toward $150 or even $200 per barrel. This is economic warfare. The US Navy's Arleigh Burke-class destroyers are the most advanced in the world, but in the confined, cluttered waters of the Strait, they face a nightmare of thousands of low-tech, high-explosive threats. Satellite tracking shows that Iran has begun scrambling surveillance in the Gulf to bait Western forces into a collision. It is a high-stakes game of strategic chicken, where a single miscalculation could trigger a global energy crisis and a full-scale naval intervention. The final weapon in Iran's position is the mesh network of its regional proxies. By moving long-range systems like the Fattah and Shahed Swarms into Syria and Lebanon, Iran creates a multi-directional threat that forces an adversary to thin out their defenses.
Iran launched nearly 200 missiles at Israel.
The Quds Force has shifted its strategy from simple rocket harassment to performative aggression. They use mixed salvos of hundreds of drones and cruise missiles to map the seams in the Iron Dome and Aegis defense networks. In 2025, several of these tests successfully impacted infrastructure. Proving that the volume of fire can eventually break through. This creates what military planners call the defense dilemma. Does Israel or the US wait for a strike to occur, or do they strike preemptively at these Iranian positions in Syria? Any preemptive move risks drawing the entire region into a hot war. Tehran's move to place these weapons near the border isn't just a military maneuver, it's a political tripwire designed to force the West into a corner.
The Iron Dome, David's Sling, the Arrow missile systems are quite effective. Would have learned this lesson back on 13 April when they launched 300 ballistic missiles.
This was maybe sort of if they knew that it wouldn't be effective, it is still some kind of response to what they see as.
In Israel, amongst the Israeli populace, where they want these external threats to go away.
We must quantify what is actually at stake. A conflict in the Gulf does not stay in the Gulf. It hits every household on Earth within 72 hours. If the Strait of Hormuz is closed or even contested, we are looking at an immediate collapse of the insurance market for global shipping. The resulting inflation spike would be catastrophic.
You really have an agnostic view and you look at these numbers, the last thing you think about is we're closing in on the Fed's target.
Historically, during the 2019 tanker crisis, oil prices reacted violently to even minor threats.
This is the first oil price spike since the U.S. oil deficit has evaporated.
With the weapons now in position, the leverage is 10 times greater. Iran is betting that the global community's fear of a $200 barrel of oil is a more powerful deterrent than any aircraft carrier. They are using the global economy as a human shield for their military ambitions. Every missile moved into a silo is a message. The cost of intervention is higher than you are willing to pay.
4.279, that's not really yields moving lower significantly.
Food and energy, known as core, it comes in also a bit less than expected.
You go back to economic fundamentals, earnings fundamentals, and where these companies are positioned for 2026. This dispersion, this rotation, this has been in place for some time.
And the U.S. is so far down in auto sales.
I've seen numbers that are staggering about how much more of this could cost people a year, $2,000 a year more.
We are entering an era where the first sign of war is the end of it. The stage is set. Verified satellite imagery and OSINT tracking show Tehran is ready to use its new high-end arsenal. The escalation ladder is being climbed, and both sides are reaching for the top. Iran's deployments increase their leverage in any future negotiation, while the massive U.S. buildup in the North Arabian Sea is the only thing maintaining a fragile peace. But in the narrow choke points of the Middle East, the risk of miscalculation is at an all-time high. The B-21 Raiders at Ellsworth and the B-2 bombers are on standby, but the weapons Tehran has moved into position are designed to win the war before those bombers can even take off. The next trigger event, be it a drone collision, a silo opening, or a naval incident, will determine whether this remains a period of coercive signaling or becomes the opening chapter of World War III. The ghost is in the machine, and the world is holding its breath.
Is Iran's move a masterstroke of strategic deterrence, or are we witnessing the final countdown to a global conflict? Share your analysis in the comments below. Make sure to like this briefing and subscribe to HMSector to stay ahead of the weapons systems that define our future. The future of warfare is no longer about who has the most metal, but who has the best ghost. Stay vigilant. I'm HMSector.